Even though it seems that the Cleveland Browns always disappoint and underperform every single year, this season feels different after a big offseason, and I think this team is about to shock the NFL. Andrew Berry made so many big pickups that will help this team immensely, and in this video, I'm going to show why I think the Browns are finally ready to make a statement and show the rest of the league why they are the real deal. Before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are now on the road to 20k subscribers, and I believe you all can help me get there super fast. So starting off, I definitely need to talk about Deshaun Watson, because after a drama-filled season in 2022, I think he is starting to settle in, and he has looked amazing so far in OTAs, which I know could be something to overreact at, but I have seen some of the throws he is making, and he looks like he is finally starting to get back to the top 5 quarterback he once was when he was on the Texans. Also, speaking of his time in Houston, real fast, I definitely want to talk about the DeAndre Hopkins rumors, because they are starting to get very real. By the time I post this video, he could have already made his decision, but if the Browns can somehow manage to get the right deal done, he would be the perfect add to this receiving core, and honestly, he would pretty much complete this offense. I already think the Browns have a pretty decent receiving room after adding Elijah Moore, but hey, whenever you get the chance to add weapons for your franchise QB, then you have to do it, especially since they were previously teammates. Not saying you have to force feed Chubb every play, but this dude will outthink himself of running the ball on 3rd and 2. I've always wanted this team to hire an actual offensive coordinator, but I guess it's gonna be Stefanski again, and hopefully he can be a lot better this upcoming season. Now let's get into the players who actually play, and let's first start with the new additions that the Browns have made. And most importantly, with the Browns' new additions that addressed what was obviously the biggest need this year outside of a new defensive coordinator, which we will talk about later, was the defensive line. It seemed like every game, the Browns were just getting gashed up the middle and could not stop the run, and outside of Myles Garrett rushing the passer, it seemed like nobody else was helping at all. The Browns quickly addressed that need when they signed former Vikings DT Dalvin Tomlinson. Tomlinson was the first signing the Browns made in free agency and was probably the biggest as far as the team need. He will quickly help fill the gap that was there, and he definitely has the ability to stuff the run. The Browns also addressed the need for edge rushers outside of Myles Garrett when they signed Ogbo Okoronkwo and traded for Zadarius Smith. Starting with Smith, he recorded his 3rd straight double-digit sack season when actually playing, as he had 10 with the Vikings last year. Many of them were early on, but he played most of the season partially injured, and now that he is 100%, he and Myles Garrett are a very scary edge rushing duo for opposing offenses. As far as Okoronkwo, he will be a great rotational defensive end, and I was very excited when the Browns signed him because he is just so fast off the edge and will absolutely fit well with Garrett and Smith in the defensive end group. Moving on to another huge need the Browns filled in free agency, I want to talk about the safety position because they signed 2 former Super Bowl champions in Juan Thornhill and Rodney McLeod. Starting with Thornhill, since he will be the starting safety, he is exactly what the Browns needed at this position because he is a seasoned veteran who knows how to win and can help force turnovers and lock down over the top for the Browns, which is something that John Johnson couldn't do last year, although I'm not entirely sure it was his fault. But with a new defensive coordinator, Thornhill should be able to absolutely lock down. And now for McLeod, who is another underrated pickup. He is another seasoned veteran who has won before and was graded 7th amongst all safeties last year on PFF at 80.1. So between those two and Grant Delpit, the safety room is much improved this year for the Browns. All this new talent in the secondary mixed with the 3 young stud corners the Browns have in Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and MJ Emerson, who will shut down opponents' wide receiving cores and could be a very lockdown cornerback room for years to come, along with an improved linebacking core as the Browns will get Anthony Walker Jr., who they re-signed, and Jock back this season. This Browns defense could be very scary and could be even better than the 2021 Browns defense, which in the second half of the season was absolutely locked down. And as I mentioned earlier, Jim Schwartz will be the Browns' new defensive coordinator, and I think this is absolutely huge. He won a Super Bowl with the Eagles and even has head coaching experience and some success, so he will absolutely make this Browns defense better under his new scheme. Alright, now we are going to talk about the offense, because as long as Deshaun Watson is at quarterback, that is what will be talked about the most on this team. The Browns did not make many new offensive pickups this year because honestly, talent-wise, this offense is in a very good place. They of course already have a franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and I know people want to panic and say he wasn't great last year, but it was just his first game back in a very long time, and as he himself said, you cannot judge him off 6 games. He already has proven just how good he can be in this league and how he can win, and he showed enough flashes to give Browns fans hope, and now is slowly starting to get back to himself with what will be his first full offseason in many years. The rest of the offense consists of, in my opinion, the best running back in the NFL in Nick Chubb, who gets better and better each year and proves why he should be given that title, as he is just an absolute beast, and of course some credit has to be given to the O-line, which has been one of the best in the league when healthy, and the Browns re-signed Ethan Posick, who is coming off an injury, so they will be even better this year. And then for the wide receiver room, which could be getting even better with DeAndre Hopkins, but is already very talented without, Amari Cooper proved to be the biggest steal of a trade last season, as he went for over 1,000 yards with 9 TDs. DPJ also got better, as he was close to 1K yards last season and seems to come down with some of the toughest contested catches when thrown near him. Also, Elijah Moore was a huge pickup for this team, as I was talking about earlier, and he was just never used right in New York and had bad QB play. I really think with Watson, Moore is going to thrive, and they already seem to be developing a connection in OTAs. Also, I can't forget about the 3rd pick in Cedric Tillman, who is a big physical wide receiver who could be the future of the wide receiver room, with Cooper and DPJ potentially on their way out next year. I also probably need to mention guys like Marquise Goodwin and David Bell, because they will add so much more depth to this receiving room, and honestly, I already think the Browns have a top 10 room in the whole NFL without Hopkins. This is for sure one of the best offenses in the league, and if you don't agree, then you probably just dislike the Browns. With all this put together, the Browns have one of the most talented rosters in the whole NFL, and on paper, they are a contender in the AFC. But I know we say this every single year, they always have hype coming into the season, and they always disappoint, but I'm very interested to see what's going to happen this season, because it just has the feel that things are going to be different. So I guess all we can say is that the Browns are a very scary and talented team, which has the potential to be dominant on both sides of the ball, and I just can't wait to see this team in action September 10th in the opener against the Bengals. Anyways, that's really all I have to say. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know how the Browns are looking and why I think they could be a sleeper Super Bowl contender if everything goes well, because they just have such a stacked roster. If you haven't already, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly means the world, and also let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next, and until next time, I will see you all later.